On this computer. Okay, today we're going to talk about security requirement planning. What we need to have in order for us to plan for security in developing applications. So this is the objective of this chapter, defining computer operating system security, describing common security flaws, mitigating the security vulnerabilities, and applying disaster recovery techniques to operating systems. The goal going to identify security requirement for a proposed system, identify how to secure existing requirement, identify and prioritize stakeholders in the system, apply accountability of stakeholders to the system scope, determining elements of requirement that documents and assert security. So you, me, and the SDLC, which is the software development lifecycle. Let's talk about the development lifecycle of an application. Each application have a life cycle. This life cycle that we are talking about start with the beginning of or the burn of the application until we have a number of them until we have the application to die. Okay, there's a number of methods I always like to use. The waterfall, in my opinion, is one of the best methods talking about development life cycle. I'm going to let you see it, by the way. We have the software development life cycle. Let me bring this. So you need to have something really big. That is a video. No, it's not a video. Okay, let me bring it. So, for example, this is the software development lifecycle. That's one of them. There's another one. That's the waterfall that I'm talking about. Because each step will be divided into a section. That's easy for us to understand. So the software development lifecycle starts with requirement analysis. So technically, people will sit down. I will say people for now. I will not name them, but people will sit down and say, hey, we want to create an application. So let's go ahead and create an application. What we want from that application? What's the things that should be in that application? Who's I need to address? Why, where, and how? So I will have everything on a paper written down, and from there I will go ahead and create my idea, sit down with people who's going to work it, and I'll tell them, hey, I want an application. And by the way, these people do not have any experience in or knowledge of what you do as a programmer, as an IT person. They don't know and they don't care, by the way. So they will sit down and they say, hey, we need to create an application. That application going to let the user to sign up and start getting mail. That's just something that they want. They did. So if you sit down and hey, we can create that form, and we can put so on programming language. We can create it with Python. We can create it with JavaScript. We can use ASP and so on. They don't know what you're talking about. So they will tell you what they want, and then you'll go ahead and take their requirement and analysis and the requirement and you analysis, and you create the diagrams, you create a design, let me say a pseudo code, it's way advanced, a design, a chart, show, hey, This is how I will have the application. Do you want it like this? And that's the second phase, by the way, that you can see number 2, design. And when you pass the design and they say, yeah, that's what I want, then you will go ahead and create an application. You create an application and you test it and it's working, and you'll go to them and say, hey, listen, that's what I have application. That's not the end product. I just wanted to ask you if you want to add anything else. After that, it will be hard to change. And they say, no, we want that. And then you will go ahead and after testing it, go back to the stage of developing, by the way. Then after testing it and passing your test, and then we'll go into one more step, which is production. And you take the application from the testing stage into live. Maybe testing stage may involve other people. Like, I don't know if you had before where you be a part of a testing team. I had 2010. I was part of a testing team where the company that I was working in, they decided to change the application and using newer application now. As an individual from a team, including like 12 or 15, I think I remember. Come on, I need to have a memory refreshment. You will test it and you will say, what do you think about it? And you will put, yeah, I think that, I think that, I think that, I like that, I don't like that, and so on. After testing, it will go into production line. The production line will be live. All users will see it and they will use it. Now, here, you will have only the maintenance of the application. Whenever a problem arises, need to maintain, and so on until the last day of that program. Now, each application have like 10, 15, 20 years. And when companies decided to let go an application, do you see it over here? 6 stages: planning, analysis, designing, implementation, testing, and integration, then maintenance. Same exact method. Okay, so when companies create an application, they will have in mind that this application will run at least like 5 years or 10 years. Now, there's other applications or other companies, what they do, when you decided to let go of that application because it's too old for you now and it's not helping you with you using this application for a long time, and you have the budget to create another application that benefits you more, what you will do, you give it for free. What do you think? You are going to sell it. So other organizations, what they do, they will buy it from you. They inquire it. They will take it. So they taking an application with all the problems that you face and you fix, and all the application. Do you see where I'm taking you over here? You created an application for a couple of years. It was top of the line. After 5 years, it's not anymore top of the line. What it is, it's old and it's not useful anymore for you. But other organizations may need it because they don't have the budget to develop another application. And from there, we can go and have the SDLC, which is the software development life cycle, because it's a life cycle from the day of start until the end of the application, where you decided to take another application, develop it, have everything you want in mind, have it top of the line, and take your application, integrate it with the old one, and start the new one and make this application to die. Now, this stage, no, it's like 10, 5, 10, maybe more. It seems to me that 5 years is the lifespan of software that doesn't get in you. I'll tell you, this organization that I was working in, they had the application since day one of internet. Can you imagine? I'm working there in 2000. I started working there in 2009, and in 2010 or 11, they got a contract, and we jumped from 200 something to 1,000 something employees in one day, and they needed to update the system because our system was working on Microsoft Access, and now we need to work on SQL databases using ASP server and SharePoint and so on. So it was like a jump for them because they get that contract. And the application that I told you that they use it with Microsoft Access, they use it for, if I'm not mistaken, from the 1990s, the beginning of creating 1995, 1997, when people started creating application using, beginning of Microsoft applications, and we had like really drive us crazy. The application, the old one, drive us crazy, and the new one drive us also crazy. Okay, so yeah, we had a lot of clicks to click. So this is the life cycle. So it's maybe 10 or 20 years. It's too much, but remember one thing: if you take a top of the line, now which one will put you top of the line? When you create, like, let me say you are in the year of, let me say 2007, 2005, 2001, and you created MySQL application using PHP and so on. And then it was the top of the line, right? But now it's not anymore, because now it has a lot of problems. I need to use different applications, different softwares. I need to integrate more stuff. I have a lot of things. I need to change. So when you come here to develop, what you will do, you will go ahead and create Python application, or you create Java application, which is the top of the line. Now, other organization, what they do, they inquire it, they will take it from you, because they cannot develop a new one, but they need to work. And that's where the development life cycle of the application will start, because you kill it in your organization, and another organization said, yeah, we got it, let's go ahead and implement it. Now, there's a lot of copyright materials, and they cannot sell it to another place. There's a lot of things, but at least you know that your application started and ended with you, and then you will be responsible for the development lifecycle. So what you need to have, you have requirement analysis, design, constructions, testing, installation, operation, and the last one, which is maintenance. Sorry, I clicked in another place. So establishing stakeholders or stakeholders. Stakeholders is anyone with interest in the project or anyone affected by the project. Now, the owner of the company is a stakeholder. Yeah, he's the top of the stakeholder. Does an employee consider a stakeholder? Yeah. A user? Yes. A manager? Yes. Right? They are responsible because they are affected. Now, you may use an application in an organization that other people don't use it. For example, you may use an application for HR. You, as a person, you don't work with HR numbers. You don't do anything with HR. You don't have any work with HR during your normal work. Are you affected? No. You don't work with application, so you're not part of the stakeholder. Okay, but let me say manager or management, where they work with HR to do anything, hiring and firing and so on, and they need to have systems to keep track. Yeah, they are getting affected by the cycle. So stakeholder is anyone with the interest in the project or anyone affected by the project. Secondary stakeholders are those who are indirectly affected by the project, or those who may indirectly affected by the project. And the process of stakeholder analysis is used to determine the member of each group. It's so important to know each group, by the way. So important. Point to remember, the early security is considered the more likely is to be implemented well, while the baseline of security consideration will be confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Say the CIA triad. You can get more general with the list of presenting to each of the stakeholders by including items such as the following, which is data privacy, strict authentication and access control, uptime and reliability, filing safely, and non-repudiation. Now, remember one thing: when someone programs an application, after implementing, it's so hard to change. I'm not kidding. It's so hard, especially when you have the application in production, in a live application, or in the process of production line. It's so hard because any mistake you will do, anything, everyone will see it. Okay, so when you program and you have security in mind, you will implement technologies, you will implement processes, you will use something, and by that you will understand something. I will tell one thing. A couple of years ago, and that's when I started actually working with websites in 2000, I think 2004, 2005. I've created an application. I always use it. I created this PHP application. It's a website using PHP, have users to sign up and so on. It was a news journal for one old company. They are not even in exist anymore. After years of working, and they have like a lot of people, hundreds of users, I've noticed one thing, that and I went there for a reason. I went there just because I needed to do some maintenance for the database, and I went to the database, and I can see that the database is not encrypted. I can see the passwords of the people in a plain text. So I said, oh no, I did a big mistake while I'm developing. I didn't have in my mind that I need to encrypt the database. I don't have in mind that I need to encrypt my password section. So I needed to go ahead, bring in a library that's using a method to encrypt, and implement that method, do the changes in the pages. Now, whenever someone sign up or whenever someone log in, need to use, it will use the library I mentioned. Now, what about the existing users? I needed to force everyone to update their passwords just because the password was not encrypted. And I need them, even if they use the same exact password, they need to use it so it will be encrypted. Because now whenever they will sign in, they will not be able, after I complete the process of, hey, check this for updates, check the password when someone log in. It need to go through the library, then go to the database, not going through directly to the database. So it's important when you develop, you need to have something in your mind. Right this moment, there's a lot of application. They cannot implement two-step authentication. Why? They didn't have it in their mind while they are developing it. They cared about having a password. They cared about having a username. They cared about a lot of things. But now we have implemented the two-step authentication. They don't have it in mind. Now they need to have add-ons to the application to add to their security, to add more layers in security. So a requirement is an outcome for the proposed system, something that is just perform or quality it must have. This is gathering requirements. Two types of requirement: a functional requirement and non-functional requirement. Functional requirement is something that the system must do. It is an outcome that the system must produce as part of its useful operation. Non-functional requirement is a quality of constraint for the system. This is something that that must be upheld as a system operates. Security requirement is associated with protection that must be placed on some part of the system, or contingency to normal operation, or a guarantee of some constraint that would otherwise violate condition of the safe operation. Okay, what do we have more? Functional and non-functional security. Security at a requirement level is mainly a consideration of all outcomes for functional requirement and assessment of what happens if the constraint fails for non-functional requirement. Jumped. Okay. Requirements are written in a language of business, but does not mean that there's no room to include technical component, especially considering constraints. So technical, what you will say, hey, we need to have a two-step authentication. We need to have a place where a user will log in and then they will see. That's written. Okay. Maybe you have more technical stuff as you go through. Asking and answering the following question will create a well-written requirement. Why should this be part of the system? What are the constraints on that requirement? What are the dependencies for this requirement? Who are the stakeholders for this requirement? So, security requirement, we have failed case. This is what happened if the requirement is not fulfilled during operation. Consequences of failure, this is the result of the failed case. When the failed case is a hit for the requirement, this is where the potential outcome should be documented. What if I have a security breach? That's a failed case. That's a failure right this moment because my system didn't protect it. That should be documented, right? Associated risk. The associated risk include sensitive information that could be compromised or revealed. Domino effect to the failure of dependence requirement or a violation of laws or system specifications. Now, why companies need to care about security? Why? Okay. Why I need to have a security? Because not only in order for me to do business, I have reputation. Oh, this company don't care about your information. They share it with everyone, right? It has my reputation. Not only that, there's maybe laws going to apply on me where I need to pay violations or fines because I didn't protect the human being information that I'm working with. So I will have consequences of that failure. What are the exceptions to the normal case for this requirement? What sensitive information is included in this requirement? What are the consequences of conditions or of this requirement are violated? So, for example, you're creating a database. Only the password will be protected. No, you will protect maybe the date of birth. You will protect the social security. You will protect all other information. What the consequences of this requirement are violated? What happened if the requirement intentionally violated? All of these questions need to be asked during me working my development life cycle at the beginning of the development life cycle. Requirement, user will vote only once per question. Fail case, a user is allowed to vote twice on the same question. Consequences of the failure is the vote tally will be incorrect. Confidence in the system will be lost. Associated risk, violation of product purpose, user may stop using product. A clear picture requirement, which is network communication between the client and the server, will flow a stateful pattern to allow traffic anomalies to be detected. A failed case is the pattern detected, control ceased to operate. Network traffic is detected outside of the expected pattern. Consequences of the failure, unexpected traffic may be allowed on the network. The system may be stuck waiting for traffic to change the state of the communication. Associated risk, malicious traffic may be entered into the network, compromising the system or other network resources. So final result, this is the security, this is following the security requirement is result requirement. Registered users can be vote A or B on questions that they allow to answer. That's a scenario. Fail case, a user leaves the page without voting. A user selects a non-standard option, or a user selected no option. The system may not successfully complete the process of the vote. Consequences of failure, the user may have to vote again or vote at a later time. The data storage mechanism could be at risk if the result does not confirm that what was expected. Associated the requirement to utilize user credentials, viewing permissions, and accessing database where it went. Compromise the system or other network resources. And access to this data storage mechanism. Establishing scope. Product scope is the collection of functional and non-functional requirements that will include in the final system. Project scope refers to the work that is to be completed and is more concerned with how the project itself will govern, such as personal timelines and so on. Validating testing, asserting the needs of the system and the needs of the stakeholders are being met with the requirement gathered. Validation is the process of making sure that the right system is being built. Trade-off analysis is where both competing needs are analyzed and best outcome for the project is decided. So that's so quickly going through reading through the chapter. So let's go ahead and see what we have for this week. Now, project 7 do involve 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. Visual Studio in part 1. And NetLab in part 2. So, part 1 and part 2. Let me switch you. Which one? This one. So you should see which screen you are seeing. The one say Visual Studio. Okay, my background each. Okay, each. Okay, I'm going to switch you. So this is screen 3. See the background. This is screen 3. This is the one in the middle. And this is the one in the left-hand side. So each one is different. Now you do, yeah. You will do the both, part 1 and part 2. Okay? So part 1, because you need to include them both and submit it. So project, this is the project for this week. Let me bring it up. So part 1, you will write down an application and you will run it. So in Visual Studio, type the application first, compile the code and what happened, and you will answer yourself. So technically, I know I add something over here. I forget to add something over here. Yeah, I forget to add something over here. Yeah, I forget to add something. So this application say, okay, you can run an application, and this application will read how many numbers, and I will say, for example, 10 or 11. Let me say 10. Please enter a number. So we will have 10 numbers. So we will have 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25. And that's my 10. Okay. So let me see what happened and why and how you can fix the error. So my error right this moment going to accept any number that I'm going to put. So if I said 20, let me say, okay, let me run it. Press enter. Let me say 25 or 11, more than 10. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And my program gives you an error. Do you see? I had an error. Reason why, I already said this is 10. So I need to fix this. Do you see the error? Because I went more than what expected. That's why I'm having an error over here. So this is one of the things that you need to do. So this is the program. I think you need to write either protected somehow, I forget. Because you cannot go more than 10. Because you said 10. Yeah. The buffer has 10 elements. You write 15 elements, which is overwrites imported data. So you need to create this. Okay, so that's the error. You need to tell me what's happened, why, and how you can fix it, and you can run it again. You need to type the program and revise it until you fix the problem, the overflow problem. I was thinking that's over here. I think the answer is in this section. Okay. And then you will go to part 2. Now it has a lot of parts. Come on, and come on. So part 2 is this. You are going to that NetLab and you will do the steps of the application. I don't know if it's still active. Have you ever used NetLab? Oh, you have not? Okay. This is the first time. But have ever you used? No, it's not similar. Have, okay. Let me stop over here. Do you know how to log into it? Visio is not NetLab. NetLab is simulation system. Okay, let me go through it. So each one, I have a different ID. If you go here, modules, and you have a section where it talk about NetLab. Where is that? Let me see this. Okay, this project 7, 10, and 12 NetLab instructions. This is how you can log in. This is the NetLab URL, and that is your username and password that you are going to use to log in. Okay, so when you log in, you will see such thing. And by the way, okay, my session is already ended. You will see something like this. So you need to go ahead and reserve a spot for yourself. Now I have a bunch of stuff because I have much more control. So it will ask you, do you want to have the ethical hacking or security plus? So technically, we need to go to project 7 to know. So in project 7, it's a login to NetLab using the username and password provided, which is I just showed you how to find it. Reserve an ethical hacking pod and go to lab 15 launching a buffer overflow. So let's go ahead. I was thinking not to do it. Okay, click on ethical hacking. We will have, I think, 2 pods. Select understanding buffer overflows, which is lab 15. Not launching. That's not launching. Yeah, regardless. Select that one. And we'll ask you, now there, do you see that I just was working over here? It will ask you to select a pod. Now we have 2 pods. Remember very well, we are 30 students. 30? Yeah, we are 30 students. If you reserve a spot, the other person cannot reserve a spot until your spot is ended. So we have 2 pods that can work simultaneously at the same exact time. Just click underneath the link and select the time. So technically, I have 40 minutes. I can click over here and I can increase. So technically, I can say, hey, it will end at 8 o'clock. So I have 1 hour. Now, during the lab, you may extend more time. But if someone reserve after you the time, you cannot extend time anymore. And you need your lab to end. Now, this is a simulation lab. What the meaning of simulation? Whenever you logged out, everything is wiped out. So no more change. The thing that you will do or the changes you will do, it will disappear. That's why you need to reserve a good amount to yourself or do it at a time that people is not working. Okay? So we will go ahead and we'll enter the lab. Wait until the pod will start. And you can see right this moment, the pod in front of you. We have running time. We have the pods. We have each machine over here. We are looking to the topology of the pod and the content. So if you click over here, you will find the content. So what I did for me, just to make easy on myself, because I have 2 screens, I printed it. You see my screen, right? Which screen you're seeing? Okay, you see my screen. The print screen. So you see, okay. So I printed on a PDF. So I have a file that is a PDF file that will have the information that I want to follow. Let me double check. You share screen 1. Yeah, that's what you should share. So that's the instruction over here. So what I did, I printed and I put it on a side. Now I'll go back to the topology. What you will say, I need to do the entire lab for front of you. So have you ever worked with Kali? Nope. Good. Both? I work with Kali every single day. Okay. This is the settings, keeps scrolling down. Now you are going to write a program for overflow. So it will say navigate through the topology, which is this one. This is the topology. Navigate through the topology page and click on the Kali virtual machine. So Kali virtual machine. Now it will ask you to enter the username and password. So the username for Kali is going to be root. And the password for it is tour, opposite of root. And the information is here. Don't think to write it down and so on. It's over here. Root tour. Okay. So Kali will log in or kick in. Now when kick in, it's say go ahead and click on that application, which is the leaf pad. And by the way, I like Kali. Come on, wake up. It didn't wake up. And we should code the entire application. So it will take time. So we will go ahead and start typing an application. So we'll say, and I will put my mic kind of far away. So we will say include include. And we say stdio, input and output, go to H, initiate main, open close, open my program, integer I, integer buffer. Do you have time? Open, put 8, close it. It's the same exact program that they have it. You just need to write it down. int num, close it. I have this is mistaking over here. I need to give a space. Print f, open this, that, slash n, enter number of integers. Then we say scan f. Do you have time? See you after the break. Give me one. I'm shifting complete detach. Okay. Scan close. Number printf. Okay. Enter the values. For I equal to 0. Number I plus close, open, and F. Sorry, whenever I work, I'm annoying because I talk while I'm at work. That's a bad thing. Yeah, I know. It's a bad thing. I enjoy I enjoy doing this stuff. Buffer. Then we need to open it. Go down. I have something. I have a mistake, I think. Yeah, I have a mistake. Yeah, me too. I have a lot of things that go in my mind while I cover stuff. So that's why I talk. It's annoying, but it's okay. For I. Anyone next to me cannot work. So just complete the application. it should look like this. So I'm going to go and hit File, Save, and I'm going to name it FULN1 C program, C language. And then I'm going to select root, and I'm going to save it. Then I will close the leaf pad. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to run the terminal, and I'm going to say, okay, GCC, compile the VULN1.c, output VULN1. And I'm going to say, okay, I have error. Like, okay, there's something wrong. I did something wrong. I have an error. Maybe because this is already. Okay, let me close this and go back to here. I have an error. File, open. Let me go so quick. This here, close it, close. Here. So include stdio.h main int buffer. That's why. And then printf enter number of integers. Close it. Scanf the printf. I think I know the reason, but because I just did it in a few minutes ago. For I equal to 0, I bring that now. I plus scanf the buffer. That's why. Found it. Okay, let's go ahead. Save, close, go back. Do I have a code? Yes, I have the code. And by the way, because you are using terminal, just press the up arrow. If you have already used it, just press the up arrow. It may take you back to the same exact line that you were working in. And I have the same exact error. That's not a good thing. Same exact error. Let's go back. I don't know what's going on. I just did it and it was like fine, nothing wrong. No, don't show any spaces over here. Okay, I can see over here. Okay. This here, this here, this here. Save. Yay! It worked. So we just created an application. We compile it. Let's go ahead and run it. So we will put this one called shell, or whatever application to run it. and enter integers, put 9. And by the way, do you remember the number that we've used in the program? We used 8. 8. So what I put over here, 9. And then I will say enter, and I will have 1 space 2 space 3 space 4 space 5 6 7 9, and it will give me my integers. Now this is wrong because it's more than what I created my application to do. It's not expected in my application. And whenever you have like this mess, just hit clear, it will clear the entire thing. So it asked me to go ahead and open it again. And create, go back, close it. Go here, file, open, selected, open. Now it will say, okay, go ahead and add more information, like to say, include, I don't know why they have it like this, but I think by mistake, because it's included over here. And we will add one line over here, which is, I think over here. Let's say, if greater than 8, well, then we will have print if you entered a value greater than file, save as, fixed, save, close it, run terminal, GCC, fixed, C, -o, fixed, and .c. Come on. Yeah, I know. I have a problem. Okay, let me go and fix it. I think let me double check. What's this? Oh, because compile it on the same exact one. That's not a good thing. Okay. no. Over here, say if. I'm tired. Okay. If and 8. No, it didn't corrupt it. It compiled it on the same exact file. That's the instructions. Value greater than allowed mark EXIT. Double check all the information. We didn't do anything else. Everything should be fine. Save as. Fixed. Save. Yes or right. Let me without the C. In function, I don't know what's going on with the main. Yeah. Come on, I just changed it. It takes me forever to fix it. Oh. Okay. Main. Print F. Try for one more time because yeah, terminated. I'm going to remove this. Exit. The problem is with the exits. Okay. Let's type it very clear. Include. space STDLIB library dot H, close it, main there's let's try it for one more time. It did work. Okay, let's go ahead and run it. Fixed VULN 1. Number of integers, let's try to put 9. You've entered the value that is not is greater than it's allowed. That all that time just to fix this thing. And you need to take a screenshot on step number 6 and step number 5 and step number 5. So let's go ahead and see. First section, let's go back. Let's say section 1. So program overflow, section number 1. That's section number 1. They want to take a screenshot of your program. Then section number 2 on number 5, show this screenshot. Then on section number 3 on number 5 for this one. Okay? So that's it. 3 screenshot. Number 5, section 3, number 5, over here, the program picture. So they want a picture of this, a picture of this, and a picture where it have the 9 values. So technically, just give yourself an hour. We already completed less than an hour, but just give yourself an hour, write it down, make sure that you've created it correctly, and just compile it. That's it. Okay? And that's how the overflow works. It's much more than I'm not understanding what's the size of the instruction window. Like this? I don't know what the meaning. I told you, you see a different screen than what I see. Yeah, so if you see this, you go to project 7, you meaning that these are cutting off? This information, you can copy it. Over here is just to ask you to go to the ethical hacking pod. Over here is just telling you go to the ethical hacking pod, where it's something that 15, which is performing a buffer overflow. Okay, the result, you will create part 1 document, from part 2 the screenshot, and part 2. So you create a document, you answer you see the rubric over here. Part 1, what you need to have to correct the program, and the screenshot. These are wrong. I need to update the syllabus. I will send an email to the instructor, not the instructor, but the lead instructor. Okay. Questions? Okay. If you have anything, just let me know. Okay. See you next week. Next week, by the way, it will be project 8. I think project 8 going to be the end of module 2. Yeah. Project 8 going to be the end of module 2. And then we will start module 3. Okay. So we will see you next week. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. You're welcome. Bye-bye.